अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुह।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
वेबिनार अभी थोड़ी देर में स्टार्ट होने वाला है। हमारे होस्ट भी अभी आ जाती हैं और गेस्ट भी। सब दोस्तों से गुजारिश है कि अपने माइक्स ऑफ रखें।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैम ज्वाइन कर चुकी हैं जवेरिया बासित की आईडी से। काइंडली उनकी स्क्रीन पिन कर दीजिए।
Assalamualaikum everyone. I hope I am audible. A warm welcome to all of you to this important webinar. We will start in a little bit.
Assalamu alaikum to all members.
मैम के किस नाम से आज भी जो है मैंने ज्वाइन किया को।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम everyone. Kindly थोड़ा सा वेट करें. अभी आपका वेबिनार जो है स्टार्ट हो जाता है. I hope everyone is good and fine and in a better health. आज का जो हमारा वेबिनार है इसका टॉपिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. Not for only for females but for males as well. अभी करंटली जिस सिचुएशन में हम लोग चल रहे हैं इसमें फीमेल्स को तो क्या ही प्रोटेक्ट करना है, हमारे तो मेल मेंबर्स भी सेफ नहीं है अनफॉर्चुनेटली. For that we need to know what are the laws and what are the protections the Pakistani law has provided us. इसके लिए आप लोगों की एंगेजमेंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज आपकी डेडिकेशन शो करिए वो आपके इस वक्त यहाँ पर होना है. इट मीन्स कि हमारी जनरेशन को पता इट मीन्स कि हमारी जनरेशन को पता है लॉ की इम्पोर्टेंस और ये कि फुली अवेयर होना चाहते हैं कि अपने राइट्स के और अपनी ड्यूटीज के बारे में. ड्यूटीज की बात तो सब करते हैं, आज हम अपने राइट्स की बात करेंगे कि पाकिस्तानी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हम जब इस स्टेट को डेडिकेट करते हैं अपना आप, व्हाट दे विल प्रोवाइड टू अस इन द फॉर्म ऑफ लॉज. काइंडली वेट अ लिटिल बिट, वी विल स्टार्ट. आई होप इस वेबिनार के थ्रू आपके जितने भी मिथ्स हैं, जितने भी questions about domestic abuse and what are the laws relating to it and what is the most important thing, what is domestic abuse itself, it will be cleared. Kindly share your important and the most important thing, they kindly share your reviews about this webinar so that we will let us know that what you gain from this. सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ अगर हम बात करें इस वक्त तो audience, dear and respected audience, there is a little bit obligations we have to follow for the smooth running of all the things. The most important thing is to put your mics on off. Please, we will provide you proper time for your questions. Okay. Now, let me introduce myself. We are officially starting the webinar. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sohira Khushi Chauhan and I am serving as the General Secretary, Law Mode Society, Pakistan Legal Alliance. While the most important thing is what is Pakistan Legal Alliance? Pakistan Legal Alliance is founded in 2022 by Ehtisham Khan. The Pakistan Legal Alliance is a dedicated non-profit organization committed to advancing legal education and awareness across Pakistan. Our mission is to empower individuals by offering free educational opportunities and practical legal knowledge. To date, PLA has successfully engaged over 8,000 students nationwide through diverse awareness campaigns and skill development programs. While continuing, I will tell you about today's webinar, which is the topic is domestic abuse laws in Punjab. The most important thing is that what is domestic abuse? According to the Domestic Violence Prevention Act 2026, which is implemented in Islamabad, is domestic abuse is something is not only related to the relationship of husband and wife. सबसे जरूरी चीज मिथ हमारे यहाँ पे समझी जाती है कि if a man is beating her wife, it is domestic abuse, which is totally wrong. According to the act, if a female member is harassing, is physically, psychologically, or socially or economically abusing a person, whether she is adult, a child, or an old person, even though the Domestic Violence Prevention Act 2026 also includes the house help in this, for which the domestic for which we are here, a prestige guest, Miss Javaria Qadir, she has done her LL.M from UK, specializing in human rights law. Ms. Javaria Qadir's journey in the legal profession stand as a testament to dedication, expertise, and unwavering commitment to justice. With over a decade of hands-on legal experience, she has successfully handled a wide range of complex legal matters, gaining deep insight into both procedural and strategic aspects of the law. Throughout her career, she has navigated diverse legal landscapes with precision, continuously refining her skills to meet the evolving needs of her clients. Her professional exposure extends beyond national boundaries, enriched by experience within international legal frameworks, allowing her to approach cases with a global perspective. This blend of local expertise and international insights enables her to deliver well informed, effective, and forward thinking legal situations tailored to each client's unique circumstances. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time to the Pakistan Legal Alliance. With the permission of the honorable speaker, it's over to you, ma'am. Please help us know that what are domestic abuse laws in Punjab.
Thank you so much. I would say this is a very good initiative by Pakistan Legal Alliance, and I welcome you all. And I hope that today you will learn a lot about the domestic abuse laws. And yes, I have chose specifically the Punjab related domestic abuse laws because I believe that there is still some room of improvement which can be done related to the Punjab, because federal laws are very strong. So first of all, just let me share my screen with you. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see it.
Can anyone please confirm? Right. So as it is. Okay. So first of all, we'll go through with the objective of our webinar. First of all, I'll explain what is the domestic violence, then what are the main types of domestic abuse, and measure what laws is implemented about the domestic abuse laws in Punjab, and then how victim can seek protection. And this how victim can seek protection, it's very important for you being lawyers too, being students, or if you're a victim. And then there is a ruling, a special ruling about Federal Shariat Court, because it is a misconception within Pakistan that domestic abuse laws is against the Islam. Islam permits a little bit domestic abuse, but federal Shariat court ruling has validate the domestic abuse laws in Punjab and in Pakistan. Then we'll see the practical challenges and enforcement. And then recommendation and reforms, and after that, if you guys have any kind of question, then we can you guys can have been seen or have heard about it that domestic abuse is one of the most underrated human right violation across the world, not only in Pakistan. And it actually destroys confidence, dignity, mental peace, and sometimes even lifetime itself. So the law therefore carries an enormous responsibility, not merely to punish violence, but to protect victim before it's too late. These lines you can see are very close to my heart. सराइकी में है, अगर आप में से कोई सराइकी में है तो वो इन लाइंस को बहुत अच्छे से जानता होगा. सराइकी मेरी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, तो I try to translate it in English. So I would love to read it out for you. I represent Fatima Zahra, Maryam, Rabia Basri. I ensured your survival and your race continuity. I bore the burdens and hardship throughout. Yet, I was treated as a merchandise without doubt. Why weren't my rights recognized by others? Why wasn't I given the rights I deserved? So basically, this is a voice of a woman, and ke baat nahi main karungi, all across the world. Which happens about the domestic abuse, if even has domestic relationship, which can be punishable. So first of all, let's see. Like, you guys must have heard the definition, the rationale behind domestic abuse law. But today we will learn the actual legal definition of domestic abuse. So domestic abuse is any violence or harmful behavior within a domestic relationship. And what can be a domestic relationship? वो next definitions में define होगा. So if we talk about Punjab, then Punjab में the Punjab Protection of Women Against Violence Act 2016 is major legislation which deals with the domestic abuse cases. It's a very new law. You guys must be surprised that domestic abuse is not a new crime, right? But the very first legislation which was enforced in Punjab was in 2016. And why is that? Because Pakistan has to meet with its international standards, the CEDAW treaty. That's why Pakistan actually taken the initiative to enforce this legislation. I must say that you guys know, you guys must have read in the Constitution of Pakistan that Pakistan is a federal state. Pakistan has a federal and different provinces. So domestic abuse laws, like some other laws, are different. At federal level, Punjab has their own domestic abuse law. Sindh has their own, and KPK has their own. So today we'll be learning about Punjab, basically. So there was a major amendment about in the Punjab Legal Violence Act 2016, which was in 2022. So first of all, we'll see who is the aggrieved person. Aggrieved person means the person who can approach the court. So if you look into the Act, Section 2, Section 1 says that aggrieved person means a female who has been subjected to violence by a defendant. So I'm talking about the Punjab laws. In federal laws, you guys must have heard about the new recent amendments. The aggrieved person definitions has broader scope there. But in Punjab, it only deals with the female and their children in some cases. Then this section 2, subsection H, defines what is domestic violence. Domestic violence means the violence committed by the defendant with whom the aggrieved person is living or have lived in a house or visit the house when they are related to each other by consanguinity, marriage, adoption, or in terms of employment. Now you can see in terms of employment, that word had been included by the new amendment 2022. So the interpretation, how it's going to affect the relationship of being in employment, it still needs some interpretation, and I think courts can actually tell us how in employment domestic abuse can happen. So we can see who is the aggrieved person. Aggrieved person is a female who is in a domestic relationship and living in the house, and she is being a victim of violence. Now, what kind of offense has been has been occurred against this aggrieved person? That tells us section 2, subsection R, violence. So first we have learned about who is the aggrieved person, what is domestic abuse, and now we are going to learn that what kind of offense can be committed against that aggrieved person who is living in a domestic relation. So section 2R explains what is violence. Violence means any offense committed against the human body of the aggrieved person. Aggrieved person means the women, including abetment of an offense, domestic violence, sexual violence, psychological abuse, economic abuse. Economic abuse is very important. And then stalking or cybercrime. Now you can see that stalking and cybercrime and psychological abuse, that also comes under the domestic abuse laws, right? So these domestic abuse laws are different than the penal provisions available under the other laws like Pakistan Penal Code or cyber laws. You can file a case under these laws if you are in a domestic relationship with with some kind of person, and he committed any kind of sexual, economic, psychological, or other offenses mentioned under this definition. So, as we have learned that the types of domestic abuse, so the domestic abuse means not only the physical abuse, it also covers. Aisha has given about the psychological abuse. Economic abuse might be facing the economic abuse, husband might money and their food, and then the digital and cyber abuse and sexual violence. So these are the main types which are mentioned under the Punjab Domestic Abuse Act. So first, we'll see what is the physical violence. As you can see from the name of this type of violence, physical means any harm which has done to the human body physically. It includes any offense committed against the human body of the aggrieved person, including abetment, assault, or causing bodily harm. This main definition you can find in Pakistan Penal Code, right? And these are the major protection orders which you can claim under the domestic abuse laws, section 7, section 15. And you guys will be surprised, like you guys are living in Pakistan, but the remedies you can claim in Pakistan while living in Pakistan are it's like you are claiming in Western countries, like you're living in USA, because you guys can go to the court and take the restraining orders. What are the restraining orders? Like court can ask that person who is committing domestic abuse violence against you, that person should remain at a distance from you. He should not communicate with you. He should not show up at your workplace. If he tries to communicate with you or try to reach out to you, that person can be that person can be held accountable for that. And then this very act also grants court, allows the court to order the defendant to wear a GPS tracker. And I'm talking about the GPS tracker in Pakistan. I'm not talking about any Western laws. The court can allow it, but obviously you guys, as you guys can assume, and it might be coming into your mind that this kind of technology Pakistan cannot afford. But we have taken the very first step, that court has now the authority that they can order a domestic abuse violator to wear a GPS tracker if he has committed a heinous offense. The second type is psychological abuse. Actually, it is like, if you have, you can go to the court, and you can, if you are the victim of a physical abuse, then you can show to the judge that the marks on your body, or the MLC report to the judge can see clearly. But what about the psychological abuse? How are you going to prove it? That is the major setbacks you have to see in the court, because you have no evidence, because the psychological abuse actually happened behind the closed doors, in front of no one, so no evidence can be produced in court. So how are you gonna prove in the court that you're being psychologically abused, right? So let's see what this act actually says. Though, so the psychological abuse actually includes the severe eating disorder, which can be happen because of the depression, or because of the psychological abuse, suicidal attempts, or because of the oppressive behavior or limiting freedom of movement. And there is the legal requirement that this physical abuse must be certified by a panel of psychologists appointed by the district women protection committee, right? They will examine you, they will check that you have been subjected to the physical abuse, psychological abuse or not. Then here comes the judgment of Justice Aisha Malik. You can see the citation that court must. She actually discourages, and that she actually said that the court must not demand physical or medical proof of mental abuse, as it often leaves no physical visible marks and occurs in private, right? So this kind of, if you are facing any kind of psychological abuse, if he is, or he's insulting you, if he is being not letting you go anywhere, he is or any way you're feeling he's undermining you, then you can approach the court. This is my favorite one, the economic abuse. And I can bet many of you is like denial of food. If you are living in a domestic relation in a house, and you are not being fed notebook because you're independent, they have spouses, sons, which is good if they are treated. But if you are in a joint family, then that can be a major problem. And many of you might know, and many of the women who have approached to me and have actually eat the food, and there was a denial of food. They have no or the outside world, and there are clothing in a domestic domestic relation, or they are actually misusing money. If you are working and your husband is asking for money and he is using your money without your permission, and you can see is as that an economic abuse, and you can reach out to the court. And this is the relevant section you can see. And then these are the orders which we will cover in next upcoming for abuse and earnings. So court can actually order that person to reimburse your economic abuse. So documentation is very important. The women who approaches me, they actually have no evidence to show into the court. If they are giving money, then there should be a money trail to show, because you cannot come to the court and say that there is no proof of that. Court needs the evidence. You have to show it. You have to prove the your case. And then the other type we have is cyber or digital abuse and stalking. There are cyber laws in Pakistan. So any can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
I hope you guys have a lot of questions. Okay,
Okay,
continue,
okay,
ma'am.
okay. Can yeah, can you see the screen now? Okay.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Right. So far we have covered a lot of types: economic, physical, psychological, and now this cyber abuse. So for the cyber laws, there are many laws implemented in Pakistan. So if you are in a domestic relation and you want a separation, but you are still in that relation, and that person is stalking you or committing any kind of cyber crimes which are mentioned under the law, then you can approach the courts. I think I have to share the screen again. There is some kind of glitch. Just hold on. Okay. So the next type, which has been mentioned under this act, is the sexual violence, which actually includes any sexual offense committed against the aggrieved person, right? And who is the aggrieved person? What is violence, and and then he has to be in a domestic relation with that person. That are the initial elements which needs to be covered in order to come before the court. So if that person has committed that kind of offense, then you can come to the court. And then section 13 deals with the protection centers. Violence against women centers are mandated to collect forensic evidence for such cases within 24 hours. And in upcoming slides I'll explain what are the violence against women centers, and you guys must be surprised to see that this is being provided to the women, and we are not well aware of them. Like, we have no idea if we are being victim of the domestic abuse. You guys need not to go to the police directly. There are some other platforms available which you guys can go, and women can feel safe there, because when you are going to the police station, some women might feel not safe, or might have some reservation that how police gonna behave, or how they're gonna be treated. So there are some centers available where women can go, and I'll be explaining in detail in the upcoming slides as well. So recently I have dealt with a case, and I was surprised to see the protection centers well behave with the victim, and she got the redressal or the remedies within no time. So Pakistan's executive system uh, has been changed now, and there are serious kind of reforms in order to protect the women rights are being taken place. All we need is to make ourselves familiar with those laws and try if we have witnessed any kind of offense violation, then all we need is to go report that, because domestic abuse laws is one of the offense which we don't like to report. We want them that it should stay remains behind the doors. It should not be like that. Okay. So right now we have learned what is domestic abuse, what are the different types, and now we will see that what kind of interim orders court can actually grant to the victim. So uh, first of all, Section 6 gives court the full authority to grant interim order. What is an interim order? It is an immediate relief as court deems just and proper while the case is pending. So this section is giving a court actually a lot of wider scope to pass any kind of interim relief which court seems that it is just and proper. And what court needs to grant that interim order? It may issue an order on the basis of an affidavit. Women only needs to give an affidavit of an aggrieved person or any other material before the court. Then judge has the authority to actually pass the interim order. And I have witnessed in the court in 2 or 3 cases that judges are not reluctant to pass that kind of bold uh, orders, because clearly we can see in the law that they have been given all the powers. All they need is the affidavit or some kind of evidence in front of them lying in the file, but they are still reluctant, or they are still learning to pass the interim orders. Then court can pass the protection order under Section 7. What is the protection order? Like if you are facing any kind of domestic abuse, then court can order the defendant that defendant should stop for communicating with or approaching that victim, right? You will go to the court, you will file an up case, and then you will tell the judge that that person is still approaching me and my life is at threat, that I have the apprehension that this person will come and actually try to kill me, or he will beat me. Then what court gonna do? Court gonna pass a protection order against them. Court gonna restrict that person to approach you, to communicate you, to ring you, to call you, or any way soever he cannot approach you. Or there comes the in this protection order, the law is also actually saving the child of the aggrieved person too. So the protection order can be passed against a person to approach the aggrieved person as well as the child of the aggrieved person. So first, what court can do if some person being a victim of the domestic abuse has approached to the court, court can pass the interim order, but whatever he feels just and fair. And then secondly, the protection order, which you have might have heard about it in the Hollywood movies or in the law, in the suits, that I have obtained the restraining order. So now in Pakistan, you can actually obtain the restraining order if you are feeling harassed from being in a domestic relation. Then this is very important, the residence order, because women, as I mentioned earlier, that women here are has to depend on their spouses or the other family members. The court has to ensure that victim isn't evicted. So they cannot actually evict you. That you don't have to be worried about that. If you file a case against the person you are living in the house, then court gonna make sure that you are not evicted from that house. Even court can go beyond that. He can actually ask that person who is harassing you to actually go live somewhere else. That person can actually these powers are given to the court to actually court under this law. All the judges need to do actually to pass. What are the monetary orders? If you are being victims, then court can ask that person to pay you if it's or any other maintenance. So court, whatever he thinks is fair, then the protection order, court can arrange a shelter to you. If you want to live in the same house, then court can ask the other person living with you and who is harassing you to live somewhere else. And then the monetary order court can pass while the case is pending. Court can ask pass any money. If you are physically hurt, then court can ask that person to give you any kind of money, so your bill can be covered. Now, so far we have learned about the domestic abuse, different types, and what orders court can pass. And now the question arises that how we can file a case, how we can approach the court. So this actually sections 4 of this act explains how we can approach to the court. So first question arises that who can file the case. So the victim, the aggrieved person, himself, herself, or an authorized representative, or she can authorize someone, or a women protection officer. So she can come to the court herself, or she can authorize a representative, or the or she can come to the court via the women protection officer. There are offices available. I think in Lahore, the women protection officer's office is near Muslim Town. You can go there, and if the women protection officer sees your case is genuine, she gonna represent you in the court of law. And then where to file? In the district where the victim lives, where the defendant lives, or where they last lived together. These are the jurisdictional issues. Like it is very important to know that where you have to file the case. So first you have to file the jurisdiction of the court where the victim lives, or where the defendant lives, or where they live together, last lived together. So these are the 3 scenarios. These 3 courts can have the jurisdiction. And the timeline, so the timeline is also very important. So what court gonna do if you have filed the case? Then after the first hearing, within 7 days of the filing, court gonna issue the notice to the defendant, and defendant has to reply within 7 days. And court is also bound to give the decision within 90 days by observing the summary trial. So this is very important. And as I can see from the courts that this has not been implemented in the courts, because my one of the cases still, it's been like 1.5 year, and my case is still pending before the Multan courts. And we have filed a case against in the High Court to seek that this case has not been decided in 90 days. Let's see what happens. So laws are there, but implementation is a big question. It's a big stigma. So these are basically the same orders which I have explained before, what court can see, but I have added more material. If this slides can be shared with you, or you can go read the section 7, section 8, or section 9, what kind of orders court can pass if you are facing any kind of domestic issue. Penalties are very important, right? Because without penalty, no law can be enforced. So if the victim has approached the court and court has passed any kind of monitoring, restraining orders or residential orders, and you have violated that order, then then you can be in prison for 1 year, or a fine can be imposed on you, as you can see. And if you repeat that offense, then there will be punishment for up to 2 years in the prison, or the fine can be, as you can see in the slides. So what immediately you can do if you face domestic abuse, right? So you can approach to the women protection centers. You can Google the location, and then there are, I was telling you before, violence against women centers are available, and they are fully operational now. So what is violence against women centers? Because that is actually a very big question comes into our mind that where should we go first, right? So Violence Against Women Center is like a one roof. You won't even imagine that this one roof actually providing the mediation and psychological support. You can they can file your FIRs can be filed there. If you are being physically abused, then medical report can be done there. You can be legally lawyers are available there. You can be consulted with a lawyer there, and they have the IT and security system, and there is their helpline you can call, and they can contact back to you. So this is a very good model, and all we need to do just give them a call or visit them and tell them, show them the evidence that you are the victim, or what kind of domestic abuse you are suffering. Then the Violence Against Women Center is going to take care of all. They're going to provide you all the psychological counseling. They're going to make sure that FIR has been launched. They're going to make sure about your MLC, the report, and they're going to give you the legal advice too, legal aid. So this is very important. And this is actually the ruling I was telling you about. I will not go into the details, but there was a big debate in Pakistan that there is, in Quran, there is a surah available which actually permits a little bit beating, which allows a husband to little bit beat or strike his wife. But Federal Shariat Court gave its verdict, and that's the citation, and it says that domestic abuse laws are not against Islam. And why is important? Because we all know that according to our constitution 1973, no law can be implemented or no custom can be followed which are against the Islamic rules and injunction. So that's why we have the Federal Shariat Court to see if any rule, if any custom is against the law, then they can point it out. They can actually tell the government that this custom is against the law, and the government is bound to strike out or declare that law against Islam, and that law would be declared void. So we have learned a lot, like what is a domestic abuse, what are the types, how you can approach the court, what courts can do, what are the punishment. And now is domestic abuse laws, are domestic abuse law against Islam or not? We have gone through with the Federal Shariat Court ruling. Now let's discuss about the challenges. What are the challenges? Of course, first challenge is social stigma and family pressure. Like there is a saying कि भी चुप रहो आपका घर बच जाएगा. So these practices should be stopped now. आप अपनी पूरी जिंदगी खराब नहीं कर सकते. You have to approach a forum if you are being physically abused. If you are a victim of the domestic abuse, you cannot take care of your family. If you are depressed, your whole family will be depressed. So it should be like that. You should go out and seek help. Less reporting is the same thing. Because of the family pressure, we do not report it. Then financial dependency, women are not dependent because it's well-known fact that state cannot actually give them lifetime support. Women need someone to take care of them. The way we are living in Pakistan, most of the women are not educated enough. They are not skilled. So they have that kind of fear that if they go against the person who are they living with, they will end up living in the streets. And that's the true fact, actually. I have seen a lot of women who actually ended up living nowhere. So laws are there, but implementation is still weak. So women education, women's being independent is very important. Then weak implementation, as I have mentioned before, that my cases are pending in the court for more than 2 years, and judges are not taking that kind of bold step, which actually the legislation has given them the power. So that means the weak implementation is one of the major issue too. And women have no awareness, as we see. And then this is very important, that no special punishment available under the law for domestic abuse as a distinct offense. As you can see, the punishment I have explained is about if you breach the interim order which court has passed. If court has asked you not to approach that person and you still approach that person, then court gonna punish you, give you punishment. And if you again violate the court order, then court gonna punish you, give you the rigorous punishment. But what is the punishment for the domestic abuse as a distant offense? There is no punishment. So this is a very big loophole. For this very reason, I have decided to organize this. I have decided to speak up on this topic, that domestic abuse laws has not been given an opportunity to be recognized as a distant offense. There is no punishment available. And above all, what Section 19 says? Section 19 says penalty for filing false complaint. A person who gives false information shall be liable to punishment for imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 months. So if a woman, being a victim, she approaches the court and she is unable to prove or give the evidence, and court decides against her, then she would be given the imprisonment for 3 months. So that is actually the point. This section is discouraging the women to approach to the courts, because as we can see in psychological abuse, we cannot actually give evidence. So these laws has to be changed. They have to they have what they need to do. They have, if some offense has been committed against you because and you're living in a domestic relationship, then the punishment of that offense should be high, like in Malaysian laws. Malaysia, you guys can know that it's also a Muslim countries, and they have rigorous punishment when the offense been committed against a person who is in a domestic relationship. So this needs to be changed. And this is the final recommendation, that there is be specialized domestic violence courts, because as we can see, the courts we are filing domestic abuse cases are overburdened, and so the cases cannot be expedited as mentioned 90 days in the law. Police should be well trained how to behave with the women, and then awareness campaigns should be arranged, because I'm 100% sure that many of you had no idea about these centers I have just told you about. And then women empowerment initiatives should be taken. And finally, I will end this session. I hope you guys have learned a lot by just quoting this. Justice must enter the homes where violence hides. Right? So it should not be a private matters. You guys need to speak up. You guys need to go out and seek help. And I would say court and state alone cannot do well. We need to act as a society. If we see anyone suffering in our neighbors or in our house, we need to stand for them. We need to take a stand for them. Actually, we cannot just blame the court, because laws are there. All we need to do,
Excuse
being a
me, ma'am.
lawyer. Yeah.
Sorry for disturbing you. As we are out of time, so I just request you
Yeah,
to join a
yeah.
new link.
Okay, I'm just done with it. You can just. Is there any question?
Yes, there are many questions. So is that possible? If you have join another link, it will be very thankful. We will be very
Okay,
thankful to you.
okay. Let's join the other link.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Participants, please join us with another link.
Everyone leave this meeting and join with another link. We have shared in official group.
ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Ma'am, General Secretary of Pakistan Legal Alliance Legal Awareness Forum. First of all, my personal opinion is that there is a lack of awareness related to domestic violence laws in Pakistan. Government as well as civil societies need to provide civic education as well as awareness to citizens in this regard. But ma'am, not to think that the scope of legislation related to domestic violence laws in Pakistan is limited to females specifically. Children or senior citizens like old age persons are not discussed in these laws. मैम इसके अलावा भी मेरे 4-5 क्वेश्चन हैं जिन्हें मैं वन बाय वन जो है वो आस्क करूंगा, आप काइंडली मतलब आंसर करते जाएं.
As I have explained in this session that in Punjab, the protection is limited, but federal laws are there, which has the wider scope, and other persons are also protected under the federal laws. Even Sindh laws are very good, but Punjab actually needs full-time improvement. There is a lot of you can see rooms for the improvement. So I actually you're right that the domestic violence should not be related to the women only. It should actually covers all the persons, especially children and the other elderly people who are living in the house in a domestic relation and they are the victim. So yeah, federal law is there, and I hope that Punjab will follow the federal law too.
Thank you, ma'am. My second question is about the structure and hierarchy of the protection centers. As we have discussed, that there are protection centers who protect women in this regard. Ma'am, can you please tell that do they exist at district or city levels? Are they like police stations? Have they authority to register FIRs? And what are their prime authorities? And also tell about their presence at every city. Do they exist in every city or only at district levels?
That is very good question. So the very first center was established in Multan, and they do exist at district level. And actually, their prime function or their prime duty is to facilitate the women. Obviously, the final decision has to be given by the court. All they need to do is to facilitate the women, so the women can actually have that kind of confidence that all they need to do is to go to one center, and all their needs, all their legal complications will be done by them. They will be given them access to the police officers, to the lawyers, to the psychologists, and all the legal implementations are there to bring their lawsuit in before the court. So yeah, they exist on the district level only. And I have actually in my slides, I have provided you their website link, so you can go and visit. There is a lot of information about them if you still have any kind of question regarding them.
Thank you, ma'am. My next question is that can these privileges be
Sir
entertained?
Sama, can we have questions from students now? We will have a different convo with ma'am and you, if you don't mind.
Excuse me, last question.
Okay, kindly make it fast as we are running out of time.
Okay, sure. Ma'am, my last question is that can these privileges be entertained in private complaint under section 200 CRPC, to which we call istaghasa? And what is the procedure of appeal in such cases? Is this just like other criminal cases that High Court proceeds as per procedure or something different?
So there is many things mentioned under the law which because of the shortage of time I was unable to explain. So the appeal can be filed against the restraining order before the session courts, and the court has to follow the summary trials. What was your other question?
My other question was, what is the procedure of appeal in such cases? Is this just
it's like the other cases, and the appeal before the restraining order can be filed before the session courts.
Just like other criminal cases?
Yes, just like the other criminal cases, but there is one section under this law has mentioned in it. Is there any other question?
Over to
Yes,
Suhaira.
ma'am, there is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, my first question is from Shams Sulfikar. In recent times, we have witnessed cases where false allegations and misuse domestic abuse laws ruined reputations and careers, even leading to tragic consequences like MAO college professor suicide. In your opinion, how can the legal system ensure accountability for false accusations while still protecting genuine victims of domestic abuse?
So I have mentioned section 19 of this very law that if a person is a women aggrieved person is unable to prove her case, then she can be punished in so legislature intent was to actually make sure that the false complaint are discouraged. So the this very section is available to discourage the false complaints, and a part of that there is other remedies under the law available, where if you file a false case, then a case of defamation and other cases can be filed against you. So yes, that's actually a big problem. I'm also observing that women knowing this, though they are victims, but there are some women are there or victims, or we cannot say them victims, but there are some person who are taking these laws as to harm the reputation of the other person. This practice should be discouraged, and these women should be punished according to the section 19. But every aspect has the flip side too. So as I can explain in my session, that section 19 is actually discouraging the victims too, because victims are not having that kind of evidence to prove in the court, because we have to prove in the court our cases by producing all the evidence. But if we are not able to prove it, then section 19 can actually allow the judge to actually imprison us for the 3 months. So this is very clause is available under the section, which actually can have the flip side. Next question.
Okay. The next question is from Arbab Fatma. How to tackle situation if we get response that domestic abuse is your private matter, or if a victim isn't ready to report an FIR with the fear of ending marriage, can third person file FIR against accused?
So the question is that the victim is not willing to approach to the court. Can you approach to the court on her behalf? That's the question.
Yes, ma'am, that's the question.
Okay. So you can actually file the case, but in that cases, if women come and that can be tricky. If you can file the case, but if that very woman who is not willing to file a case against the person who she is living with, she can come to the court and deny the fact. Then court cannot even do anything about that person, right? So that you can, but practically it's not possible, because that women actually gonna come and deny that.
Okay. So my next question is from YouTube somewhere. I don't know her name. How does cyber abuse relate to domestic violence? Although
So
we have a PICA law.
exactly. So the I have explained in my session, if you are in relation with that person in a domestic relationship, you are living with that house, that elements are covered, then you can approach to that court too. So domestic abuse law actually covers uh, all the offenses which are committed while you are in a domestic relation with that person.
Okay, thank you very much. And my last question is, how does Pakistan's legal framework address issues, especially marital rape and emotional abuse within domestic relationship? And how wife can seek remedy for this under law by binding herself in marriage? As you know that there is no proper law on marital rape in Pakistan.
So I have explained this thoroughly, that sexual violence is a domestic abuse law. It is covered in it, so, and how you can approach the court, that has been explained thoroughly, and what remedies you can avail, that also has been explained in this session. So I think that question has already been covered in this session.
Okay, ma'am. The last one is to seek remedies under this act. Should we file writ or approach civil or criminal courts? It's from
So
Mia
there,
Talha.
yeah. So that question has also been answered. That where to file the case. There is cases of courts available on the district level, so you guys can file a case there. And for the rate, you guys need to understand there are only 5 rates. So actually, time is running out, but writ can only be filed when there is no other remedy available. If there is other remedy like domestic abuse law is giving you a platform where you can file the case, so you can guys cannot go to for the writ. If you go for the writ, then court simply gonna object then or turn down your writ by saying that first approach that court, exhaust that remedy, then file it, then go for the writ.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I think
According to societal laws, if there is an abettor, must be a principal. How to prove that the victim is not a principal?
sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay, ma'am. The question is, according to societal laws in Pakistan, if there is an abettor, there must be a principal. How to prove that the victim is not a principal?
That a victim, actually, I'm unable to understand this question. What is the reference to?
Okay, ma'am. Let me explain a little bit.
Yeah, please.
नॉर्मली सोसाइटी लॉज में ऐसे होता है ना कि इफ देयर इज एन बेटर किसी ने प्रोवोक किया है तो आगे से अगर आपने उसकी प्रोवोक
Okay, okay,
ओके
you're talking about the abatement. Okay, now I got it. The abatement. So now repeat it.
ओके अकॉर्डिंग टू सोसाइटल लॉज इफ देयर इज एन अबेटर देयर इज अ प्रिंसिपल एज वेल हाउ टू प्रूव
Mhm.
दैट विक्टिम इज नॉट अ प्रिंसिपल
Like so actually that is a matter of the evidence, so you have to prove every abetment and everything via the evidence, because the person who is approaching the court, all the liabilities is lies on that person to prove that who has committed the abetment and who is like acting on the behalf of the provocation. Because in domestic abuse laws you can see that many when many women who are the victims and they come to me, they actually says that my husband is not the mother-in-law or the sister-in-law. Okay, so that is the actually problem, and that should be addressed. So that doesn't mean we can give the clean sheet to someone. All can be actually held accountable under this. I think we should, that's all. Is there any other question we can cover it into the next session?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so very much for for this insightful session and for your time. Especially on behalf of the PLA team, I am really thankful to you for your time and for your thoughts on this on such an issue that was not addressed in particularly with its relates to the women. And we are very thankful, the team PLA, especially the Ayub Malik, the leader and the president of the Pakistan Legal Lines Law Movement Society, and Sajid Sham, and with all the others. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Osama, you really asked very good questions. Good work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right, take care and keep studying. And that's not all. I have missed a lot of information. You can go and study this very act. Okay? Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.